Okay, so it's been a while since I last did a video on normal characters such as Eggman or Bark, but now, instead of doing those two, I'm going to be doing Robo Egg. Now, Robo Egg is a unused character inside the fighters. Well, not really unused. You can't play as him normally, unless if you hack him in. But essentially, he's just a Mech Eggman clone that can crouch, and a few other things. So, in this video, I'm going to explain who Robo Egg is, and if he was a part of the roster, how I would fix him. So, let's get started. First, I feel like I needed to explain on who Robo Egg is. Basically, he's a robot in STF that, he has a drill, he has two of them, and he's not afraid to use them. Anyways, what happens if you play as this character? Well, to put it simply, he's a Mech Eggman clone. But he does have a few things unique about him. First off, he can crouch, and he has a head that automatically rotates and drills that, well, guys, I know this will be a shocker to you, they rotate. Another thing to point out is that he has a completely different move list in the data. So basically what that means is that you can add on new moves to him that does not affect Mech Eggman, which I think is pretty cool, assuming that the developers had more plans for him. Another thing to mention is that why does it say Robo Egg where his name is? Why does it just say Dr. Eggman? Well, he has an unused nameplate that completely goes, unused, considering the fact that it's not there. So, here, let me just place an image over that, so, it will slightly look correct, even though it won't look correct. But there is a few more things about him that I didn't mention, though. While he is the exact same, he does have purple trails instead of the silver Mech Eggman has. Now, I think his trails are unfinished. I believe each character in the data has their own trail, and if a character does not have a trail, it will just default to fangs. So, you may be asking yourself, this character plays, mostly complete. Why was he scrapped? Well, there's a few theories on this, but the one I really think is that during development, developers had no idea on whether or not they wanted Eggman to be in a mech, or him to just fight normally. Well, the majority of the time, you see Eggman standing up in the classic Sonic games, so they either wanted to stay true to that, or they didn't know if they wanted to come up with a true idea or not, which I can find that, pretty hard to make a decision about. Considering that, there is a version of Eggman that's in a mech, one that's not in a mech, and, there's a big one and one in the green mech, so, clearly, they did not know what direction to take Eggman in this. Ultimately, they decided to put him in a mech. However, I feel like this decision was, made kinda last minute. Well, because, you wanna know what moves Mech Eggman has? Yeah, this essentially means that they completely gutted Robo Egg and, removed all his cool and epic tricks because, Dr. Eggman, he was running out of ideas, so, he had to steal them because he's a thief. Now, you may be wondering, how am I going to balance this character? Well, since his character is mostly complete, we don't really have much to fix about him. However, first, I need to get a few things out of the way. First, I want to showcase his hitbox. And one of the main questions I feel like most people will have is that, because his head rotates up, does that affect his hitbox? No, it does not affect his hitbox. And I think it should stay that way, because, do you know the amount of bullshit things Mech Eggman has for, having a weird hitbox? Yeah, I don't think Robo Egg should have the same problem. However, how would I design this character? Well, Echo Fighters and Smash Bros, right? He would basically be like one of those, but instead, they wouldn't be, just a way to rebrand what clones were. Instead, we're gonna try to make him actually unique, even though there isn't much we can really do about him. First off, we need to get every single thing that CE Eggman has, specifically version 1.7.1 has, and give that all to Robo Egg. Because, I think that would be good if we just give him everything that he has in the base community version. This means he gets access to Foot Crush and Skip Punch, which Skip Punch won't really help him that much, but what are you gonna do about it? First off, I'm gonna be replacing his normal throw, and instead giving him Fang/Espio's throw. Now you may be wondering, Oh, but you know, wouldn't that be an issue because 3 single characters have it? Well, I don't think that will be much of a big deal, and if you really want to be such a little bitch about it, I'll give him his original throw, but instead it will be a command input. So, yeah, you still have his throw. I'll put the input on screen if you want to. You'd see it, I guess. So there's the numbers if you're a nerd too, so there you go. Another thing is Robo Egg's Lariat. It, does not look good. I would replace it with something, but the problem is that I don't know what to really replace it with. There's not many moves that really fit as a category for it, and if I do replace it with something else, it simply just would not fit him. So we're just going to keep it the same for now. If I were to make it a low hitting move, it would affect Mech Eggman too, since they both had the same Lariat and they both had the same moveset. So I guess that will do for now. Now, I haven't brought this up by now, but every single Eggman in the game must have regular triple bomb toss. If you don't know, each version of Eggman has a slower triple bomb toss than the other character, you know, being the Dynamite, yep, the guy that uses bombs. I don't know why the CE team has not done this yet, and from what I've heard, it's to make them more unique. Well, yeah, that surely makes them more unique, considering the fact that it makes my character even more shittier than they already are to begin with. Robo Egg's uppercut is a bit disjointed, and I feel like a ton of people in the competitive community will be pretty pissed off if Robo Egg's uppercut is kept in. So I'm going to be doing the community a favor and removing it, which I know some people might be upset about it, but let's be real here. If you're a Robo Egg main, do you really use uppercut that much? And if so, what is it used for? Exactly. Another thing is that this character will be a lot lighter than Mech Eggman. Now, Mech Eggman, and for some reason Honey, and every other character that's unused, has the weight value of 160. So, to combat this, we're going to be making him a little bit lower than Mech Eggman, but still heavy enough to where, you know, it kind of makes him work. So I'm going to be setting his weight value to around 110 through 130. That way he's slightly heavy, but also not too heavy for his size. Now, I feel like I need to give him one unique move, and that one unique move is actually an unused move in the code. Now, I'm going to be making a video about unused moves in the future. I do have plans to, but I need to figure out how to, you know, get all of them working. So, in the meantime, I'll just explain one of them for a video that will probably be coming in a few months or so. Basically, this is SBO's unused moves that I don't know the name of, so I'll just call it Roundhouse Tongue. Basically, it was a move where SBO's head would spin and his tongue would rotate 3 times, and the last hit had no hitbox for some reason. However, it was a hard knockdown, so it kinda did have a little bit of a benefit. So, that's it, I guess. Basically, we're going to be repurposing this move for Robo Egg's move. And you may be wondering, well, yeah, it'll be used for his head spin, but how would that work? Wouldn't that be a little bit disjointed? Well, Robo Egg has this unused head model in the files that I think will work well with it. Instead of it being a hard knockdown, it will multi-hit the first 2 times, and then it will be a launcher forward. Somewhat like Emerald Dive, but it won't move, and it doesn't hit as hard. It also isn't as pathetic as CE 1.7.1. Also, for some reason, he still drops nuts and bolts, so we're going to be removing that too, as due to that, it caused things in the background to flicker. So, that will be all my changes for Robo Egg, and how he would work in the roster. There's also a sprite for him, which I'll put on the screen right now. Thank you, Mystic Noodle. Anyways, I don't really have anything else to say, so thank you for watching this video. I kind of just had this idea in my head for a little while, so I might as well figure I'd get this one done. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.